Nat gas prices surging across the globe amid mounting concerns over stockpiles. This is US gasoline prices post their longest streak of decline since 2015. We've had 70 straight days of it now. Team coverage begins right now with Jack Farchy out of London and AMH here in New York City. Jack, I want to come to you, and I think this is so important. I think we all have a relationship with a barrel of oil that we don't have with gas. When you tell me the price of gas, I don't really know what that means in the same way. Natural gas. Jack, can you tell me just how bad things are in Europe with winter just around the corner?
Well, that's absolutely right, but I can tell you that people here in Europe now really do have a relationship with the price of gas, because we're all looking at our energy bills and beginning to understand quite how dramatically they're going to increase. So here in the UK, for example, the average energy bill, I mean, I can tell you my energy bill for my two-bedroom house costs about £100 a month, goes up a bit in winter, down a bit in summer. It's now projected to go up to about £400 a month and could even be £500 a month. So that's, you know, one of the key bills that most people pay. We're looking now at really a significant proportion of the population, you know, even the quite well-off middle classes now really struggling to pay their energy bills, and that's being repeated across Europe. Depends a bit on different policies in different places where governments are taking a bigger part of the burden, but we're heading for a winter now where prices are going to be eye-wateringly expensive. You know, you look at power prices across Europe and they're something like 10 times the level that they were before this past year. And not just prices, but actually we're talking about shortages. So you have the Finnish grids today came out and started warning Finns that there's a very real possibility of rolling blackouts this winter because they're simply not going to have enough power to supply domestic customers.
Jack, you said a winter. The Belgian Prime Minister's talking about 5 to 10 of them. Jack, your response to that when you heard that?
I think that's right. Look, I think we need to take things one step at a time. The first issue is going to be to get through this winter. There's a real possibility of supply outages across different countries in Europe, but it's absolutely the case that we've all got used to power prices, gas and power prices in Europe being pretty cheap, largely on the back of cheap Russian gas over the past 10, 15 years. We're not going to have that anymore. It's very unlikely. Whatever happens in the coming winter, whatever happens in the war, it's very hard to see how we're going to continue to have very cheap power prices on the back of large supplies of Russian gas. And so I think we need to get used to the fact that energy is going to be much more expensive.
AMH, we've had 70 days of it now, of gasoline prices coming down. Reason to believe that we can continue this trend?
Well, there is some reason to believe that, given the fact that you have China still in lockdown. At the same time, we are over peak driving season of the summer. But there obviously are concerns because you can have switching in Europe. If they're losing natural gas, they could start switching using oil. And also, at the end of the year, those European sanctions on Russian crude start to kick in. And it's not just barrels of oil. It's the shipping, it's the insurance. So right now, the administration is going to the midterms with some very good wind in their sails in terms of gasoline prices, but I also be slightly cautious because what we heard yesterday in an exclusive interview with Saudi Arabia's energy minister, Prince Abdulaziz bin Salman, said that he thinks there's a disconnect between the physical market of barrels shipping across the sea, as well as the financial markets, the paper markets that we track every day. And the words that he said is that basically they could cut at any time. This is just a month since the president touched down in Jeddah, and now the Saudis are pretty much putting out this idea that they might cut production.
I have to say I was surprised to read that yesterday, but I don't follow it as closely as you two. But that seemed ridiculous to me based on what we were calling for a month or so ago. AMH, Jack, wonderful as always.